You've watched the videos, you've saved the posts, you've bookmarked the articles. At this point, you probably know more about personal finance than most people around you. You understand compound interest conceptually. You've heard about index funds. You know you should be budgeting and investing and building an emergency fund. And yet, your bank account doesn't reflect any of that knowledge. The gap between what you know and what you actually do keeps widening. You consume financial content regularly, but somehow never quite implement it. Every January, you tell yourself, this is the year you get serious about money. And every December, you're in roughly the same position. Maybe slightly better, maybe slightly worse, but nowhere close to where you thought you'd be. Here's what nobody tells you about financial literacy. Knowing things isn't the same as being financially literate. Financial literacy isn't information stored in your head. It's behavior embedded in your life. It's not what you understand about money. It's what you actually do with money, consistently, over time. The good news is that the gap between knowing and doing doesn't require massive lifestyle changes to close. It requires tiny habits, small, repeatable actions that take minutes per week but compound into genuine financial transformation over months and years. This video covers 10 tiny habits that will make you financially literate in 2026. Not financially educated. You're probably already that. Financially literate. Actually doing the things that build wealth, automatically, without requiring constant willpower or attention. Each of these habits takes 5 minutes or less. Most of them you'll set up once and forget about. A few require brief weekly or monthly check-ins. None of them are complicated. All of them work. By the end of this video, you'll have a specific action plan for turning financial knowledge into financial behavior. That's where real progress lives. The first tiny habit changes how you see every purchase you make. Calculate your true hourly rate. Most people know their salary. Far fewer know what they actually earn per hour of their life. Here's an example. Someone earning $60,000 annually, working 40 hours per week for 50 weeks, appears to make $30 per hour. But that calculation ignores reality. Add the commute, say 40 minutes daily round trip. Add the time spent getting ready for work. Add the unpaid lunch hour you spend at the office. Suddenly, that 40-hour week becomes closer to 50 hours of life dedicated to work. Now factor in taxes. That $60,000 gross becomes maybe $47,000 take-home. Divide $47,000 by the actual hours dedicated to work. Let's say 2,500 hours annually when you include commute and preparation, and your true hourly rate drops to under $19. This number changes everything about how you evaluate purchases. That $200 dinner isn't $200. It's over 10 hours of your life. That $40,000 car isn't $40,000. It's over 2,000 hours. Essentially, an entire year of your working life traded for transportation. Once you know your true rate, a mental filter activates automatically. Before purchases, your brain starts calculating, is this worth X hours of my life? Sometimes the answer is yes. Often, once you see the real cost, the answer becomes obviously no. Calculate your true hourly rate this week. Take your annual after-tax income and divide it by your total work-related hours, including commute, preparation, and anything else your job requires. That number is what your time is actually worth. Write it down somewhere you'll see it regularly. This single calculation, done once, will influence thousands of future decisions. The second tiny habit removes willpower from saving entirely. Automate your savings before you can spend them. Research consistently shows that automatic savers hit their savings targets far more often than manual savers. The psychology is simple. Money you never see in your checking account doesn't feel available to spend. Money you have to manually transfer always competes with other desires. Here's what automation looks like in practice. On payday, before you make any decisions, a predetermined percentage of your income moves automatically to savings and investment accounts. You set this up once, maybe 15 minutes of work, and then it runs forever without requiring attention or willpower. In 2026, most banks and employers make this trivially easy. You can set up automatic transfers from checking to savings. You can have retirement contributions deducted from your paycheck before you ever see the money. You can schedule recurring investments into brokerage accounts. The target to aim for is at least 10% of your take-home pay moving automatically to savings or investments. If 10% feels impossible right now, start with 5%. Start with 3%. The specific percentage matters less than the automation itself. Once you've automated, something interesting happens. Your spending naturally adjusts to what remains. You don't feel deprived because you never had access to that money in the first place. The friction of manual transfers, the decision fatigue, the temptation to skip a month, the guilt when you don't follow through, all of it disappears. Set this up this week. Open a high-yield savings account if you don't have one. They're paying 4 to 5% APY in 2026. Schedule an automatic transfer for the day after each payday. Then, forget about it. The system handles everything from here. The third tiny habit creates the awareness that drives all improvement. Do a monthly money check-in. Pick one day each month. It could be the 1st, the 15th, the last day, whatever works for your schedule. Block 30 minutes. Make it pleasant. Coffee, comfortable spot, whatever helps you actually show up. During this monthly check-in, you do 3 things. First, review your spending from the previous month. Pull up your bank and credit card statements. Look at where the money actually went. Don't judge it, just observe. What patterns do you notice? Any surprises? Any categories significantly higher or lower than you expected? Second, check progress on your financial goals. Is your emergency fund growing? Are your investments on track? Is debt decreasing? This isn't detailed analysis, just a quick status check. Thumbs up or thumbs down on each major goal. Third, set one focus for the coming month. Not 10 goals, not a complete financial overhaul. One specific, achievable focus. Maybe it's reducing restaurant spending by 20%. Maybe it's increasing your automatic investment by $50. Maybe it's finally canceling that subscription you've been meaning to cancel for 6 months. One focus means your brain isn't overwhelmed juggling multiple financial priorities. You have one clear target. That clarity dramatically increases the odds you'll actually hit it. The monthly check-in takes 30 minutes. Over a year, that's 6 hours of total attention to your finances, roughly the length of 2 movies. Those 6 hours create more financial progress than hundreds of hours of passive content consumption. Schedule your first check-in for this month. Put it in your calendar right now. Treat it like any other appointment you wouldn't skip. The fourth tiny habit reframes every spending decision. Learn to distinguish assets from liabilities. Everything you spend money on falls into one of 2 categories. It either puts money into your pocket over time, or it takes money out of your pocket over time. A car is a liability. Every month it costs you insurance, fuel, maintenance, and depreciation. You bought something that bleeds money continuously. Even if you paid cash, even if there's no loan, the car is consuming your wealth every day you own it. A rental property that generates income exceeding its costs is an asset. Money flows into your pocket monthly because you own it. The ownership adds to your wealth rather than subtracting from it. A designer bag sitting in your closet is a liability. It costs money to acquire and provides no financial return. A course that teaches you a skill you use to earn more income is an asset. It costs money up front, but generates returns indefinitely. This isn't about never buying liabilities. You need some liabilities to live: housing, transportation, clothing. The habit is simply to recognize which category each purchase falls into before you buy. Before any significant purchase, ask yourself, will this put money into my pocket over time or take money out of my pocket over time? If it takes money out, is it worth the ongoing cost? If it puts money in, is the return worth the upfront investment? This simple mental filter, applied consistently, gradually shifts your spending toward things that build wealth and away from things that deplete it. You don't need to become obsessive about it. You just need to ask the question. Over weeks and months, asking this question before purchases changes your default behavior. You start naturally gravitating toward assets and becoming more selective about liabilities. The habit compounds into significant wealth differences over years. The fifth tiny habit shows you the complete picture. Track your net worth quarterly. Your net worth is everything you own minus everything you owe. Add up all your assets, bank accounts, investments, property, valuables. Subtract all your debts, credit cards, loans, mortgage. The result is your net worth. Tracking this number quarterly gives you something that monthly budgeting can't, a view of your overall trajectory. Are you building wealth or depleting it? Is your financial position improving or deteriorating? The net worth number answers these questions definitively. Why quarterly instead of monthly? Because short-term fluctuations create noise that obscures the signal. If most of your net worth is in investments, a bad month in the stock market can make it look like you're losing ground, even when your financial behavior is excellent. Quarterly tracking smooths out the volatility and shows the underlying trend. Here's how to do it. Create a simple spreadsheet or use a free net worth tracking tool. List all your assets in one column, all your liabilities in another. Once per quarter, January, April, July, October, update the numbers and calculate the total. The median net worth for Americans by age is lower than most people realize. By 40, the median is around roughly $130,000. If you're above that, you're doing better than half the population. If you're below, you have a clear target to work toward. The power of tracking isn't just in knowing the number, it's in seeing the trend. Watching your net worth increase quarter over quarter provides motivation that abstract financial advice never can. You're not just following rules, you're seeing real results. Set up your net worth tracker this week. It takes maybe 15 minutes. Then schedule quarterly check-ins to update it. That's 1 hour per year for complete visibility into your financial trajectory. The sixth tiny habit puts money back in your pocket regularly. Negotiate one bill every quarter. Most people pay whatever they're charged without questioning it. They assume prices are fixed, non-negotiable, set in stone. This assumption costs them thousands of dollars over time. The truth is that many recurring bills are negotiable. Internet service, phone plans, insurance premiums, subscription services. Companies would often rather keep you as a customer at a lower rate than lose you entirely. Acquiring new customers is expensive. Retaining existing ones is cheap. Use that economics to your advantage. Once per quarter, pick one bill that feels too high and call the company. Use simple language. I've been a customer for several years, and I'm looking at my budget. The current rate is a bit outside what I can afford. Are there any options to lower my bill? Mention that you've seen competitors offering similar services for less. Ask if there are any current promotions you might qualify for. If the first representative says no, politely ask to speak with the retention department. They often have more flexibility to offer discounts. This habit takes maybe 1 hour per quarter, 15 minutes per week on average. The returns are typically significant. Even small wins add up. $10 per month saved on one bill is $120 per year. Stack 4 or 5 of these wins, and you're saving $500 or more annually for a few hours of phone calls. The skill you're building here extends beyond the immediate savings. You're training yourself to question default prices, to negotiate instead of accept, to recognize that asking costs nothing and often yields something. That mindset pays dividends across all financial interactions. Pick one bill this quarter. Make the call. See what happens. The seventh tiny habit builds the most valuable asset you own. Invest in yourself regularly. The average American will earn $2 to $3 million over their working lifetime. If you can increase your earning potential by just 10% through skill development, that's an extra $200,000 to $300,000 over your career. No investment offers that kind of reliable return. Stocks might average 8 to 10% annually. Real estate might generate steady cash flow. But investing in skills that increase your income provides returns that compound on top of a higher base for decades. The habit is simple. Spend money on learning and skill development regularly, not randomly, intentionally. Pick skills that matter for where you want to go professionally, skills that increase your value in the market, skills that open doors to higher paying opportunities. This could be formal courses, certifications, coaching, or books. It could be paying for tools that let you practice and improve. It could be hiring someone for an hour to teach you something specific. The format matters less than the intention. Deliberately building capabilities that increase your earning power. I used to resist spending money on education. Why pay for something when I could learn it free online? What I discovered is that paid learning often compresses timelines dramatically. A course that costs a few $100s might save dozens of hours of trial and error. That time savings alone is worth the investment. Set a learning budget, even a small one, $50 per month, $100 per month, whatever you can afford. Then spend it intentionally on skills that move you toward your goals. Track what you learn and how you apply it. The returns will become obvious over time. Your skills are the only asset that can't be taken from you. Markets crash, investments decline, companies fail. But knowledge and capabilities you've built remain yours forever. The eighth tiny habit leverages the most powerful force in wealth building. Start investing early with whatever you have. There's a famous illustration that demonstrates why starting early matters more than almost anything else. Imagine two people. The first starts investing at 22, puts away $10,000 per year for just 10 years, then stops completely. The second waits until 32, then invests $10,000 per year for the next 30 years until retirement. The first person invested $100,000 total. The second invested $300,000 total. At retirement, assuming 7% annual returns, the person who started early and stopped has more money than the person who started late and never stopped. That's the power of compound growth working over time. The years matter more than the dollars. If you haven't started investing yet, start now with whatever you can. $50 per month is fine. $100 per month is better. The specific amount matters less than establishing the habit and letting time work in your favor. In 2026, starting is easier than ever. Brokerage accounts have no minimums. Low-cost index funds let you own the entire stock market for expense ratios under 0.1%. Automatic investing features handle everything once you set them up. A simple starting strategy. Invest in a total stock market index fund or a target date retirement fund appropriate for your age. Don't try to pick individual stocks. Don't try to time the market. Just buy consistently, hold forever, and let compound growth do the work. If you feel behind because you didn't start earlier, remember, the best time to start was years ago. The second best time is right now. Every month you delay is compound growth you're giving up. Open an investment account this week if you don't have one. Set up an automatic monthly contribution, then leave it alone and let time do its job. The ninth tiny habit breaks the taboo that holds most people back. Talk about money with people you trust. Studies show that over 60% of Americans don't discuss money with friends or family. The same research shows that people who have candid money conversations are significantly more likely to achieve financial goals and build long-term wealth. There's a massive disconnect here. We know talking about money helps. We're too uncomfortable to actually do it. And that discomfort costs us in missed learning, in isolation, in slower progress. Money conversations don't have to mean sharing your exact salary or net worth. They can be as simple as asking a friend what budgeting app they use, discussing investment strategies over dinner, asking someone you trust how they think about major financial decisions. When you talk about money, you learn from other people's experiences without having to make every mistake yourself. You discover strategies and tools you wouldn't have found alone. You realize that everyone struggles with similar challenges. The isolation you feel around money is largely an illusion created by silence. Start small. Next time you're with a friend you trust, try a casual opener. I've been thinking about my finances lately. Do you budget? Or what's your approach? You don't have to share numbers if that feels uncomfortable. Just open the conversation. You'll find that most people are actually relieved to discuss money with someone who's genuinely curious rather than competitive or judgmental. The conversation benefits both of you. Make it a habit to have at least one genuine money conversation per month with friends, family, partner, colleagues, anyone you trust. Each conversation expands your perspective and accelerates your learning. The 10th tiny habit keeps you going when progress feels slow. Celebrate your financial wins. Building wealth is a long game. The results take months and years to materialize. If you're only focused on the distant destination, you'll burn out long before you arrive. The habit is simple. Acknowledge and celebrate milestones along the way. Your first $1,000 saved, paying off a credit card, your net worth crossing a round number, hitting a savings rate target for the month, going a full week without impulse purchases. Any progress deserves recognition. This isn't about excessive rewards that undermine your financial goals. It's about training your brain to associate saving and investing with positive emotions rather than deprivation. When progress feels good, you want more of it. When it feels like endless sacrifice, you eventually quit. Create specific milestones and decide in advance how you'll celebrate each one. Maybe hitting $5,000 in savings means a nice dinner out. Maybe paying off a loan means buying something you've been wanting. Maybe reaching an investment target means taking a day off to do something you enjoy. The celebrations should be proportionate. Don't blow your emergency fund celebrating its existence, but they should be real. Actual acknowledgement that you've accomplished something meaningful. The financial journey is a marathon, not a sprint. Marathoners celebrate mile markers along the way. They acknowledge progress even when the finish line is distant. That acknowledgement is what makes the long effort sustainable. Pick your next financial milestone. Decide now how you'll celebrate when you hit it. Then pursue it, knowing that recognition awaits. These 10 tiny habits don't require hours of daily attention. They don't demand perfect discipline or complete lifestyle transformation. They work because they're small enough to actually do, consistently, over time. Calculate your true hourly rate once and let it filter future purchases. Automate your savings so they happen without willpower. Do monthly check-ins to maintain awareness. Distinguish assets from liabilities before buying. Track net worth quarterly to see your trajectory. Negotiate bills each quarter to keep costs down. Invest in skills that increase your earning power. Start investing early with whatever you have. Talk about money with people you trust. Celebrate milestones along the way. Each habit takes minutes. Together, they create the infrastructure for genuine financial literacy. Not just knowing about money, but actually behaving in ways that build wealth. But here's what ties all of this together. These habits work because they're built on understanding how money actually functions. The psychology of spending, the math of compound growth, the systems that make good behavior automatic, the awareness that drives continuous improvement. That understanding, financial literacy in the deepest sense, is what separates people who struggle with money their entire lives from people who build lasting security and freedom. Most people never develop this understanding. They pick up scattered tips and tricks. They implement habits without knowing why they work. They make progress for a while, then drift back to old patterns because the foundation isn't solid. I made a complete breakdown of financial literacy that covers everything underneath these habits. How money psychology actually works. How compound growth builds wealth over time. How to think about spending, saving, and investing in ways that stick. The full framework that makes all of this make sense. If these habits resonated, if you're ready to build genuine financial literacy rather than just collecting more tips, that video will give you the complete picture. It's the foundation that makes everything else work. Because financial literacy isn't really about knowing things. It's about understanding deeply enough that the right behaviors become obvious. When you truly understand how money works, you don't have to force yourself to make good decisions. Good decisions become the natural choice. These 10 habits will change your financial behavior in 2026. The understanding underneath them will change your financial life forever. Start with one habit this week, then add another. Let them compound the way money compounds. A year from now, you'll look back and realize that the tiny changes you made today created the transformation you've been waiting for. The gap between knowing and doing is smaller than you think. It starts with the first habit, today.